The ugly things that I saw coming out of MAGA, the prejudice, the white nationalism, the Christian nationalism, that was the few.
That was made up by the Southern Poverty Law Center?
No, it wasn't made up. Oh, please, Katie.
Yeah,
you don't want any of that smoke.
Rally was,
I promise you.
led by the Southern Poverty Law Center.
If you think white nationalism is made up by the Southern Poverty Law Center, no wonder you don't have a problem with what J.D. Vance said about Nixon.
The kind you're talking about in MAGA it's made up by the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Right.
All right, get ready, because you are about to witness one of the most astonishingly unhinged moments on cable television. Katie Pavlich walked onto News Nation thinking she could coast on standard partisan talking points. But she instead ran directly into a rhetorical buzzsaw. In an absolute desperate bid to shield the MAGA movement from criticism, Pavlich looks directly into the camera and boldly claims that white nationalism was basically invented by the Southern Poverty Law Center just to damage the political right. You cannot make this stuff up. This is a level of political delusion that has to be seen to be believed. But watch how veteran anchor Chris Cuomo completely deconstructs her entire identity as an independent analyst, leaving her visibly rattled, defensive, and on the absolute verge of tears. We are tracking these massive media double standards every single day, and we are pushing hard to hit our channel's first major milestone of 1,000 subscribers. If you are sick of the partisan spin and want the raw truth, hit that subscribe button right now, join the community, and watch this.
Just like when I finally got a grip on MAGA, months earlier than many other people, which is why I kept saying, well, I put it this way. I made a lot of money off $1 bets that Trump was going to beat Hillary Clinton, when a lot of people didn't. It's kind of the stuff of Cuomo mythology. Why did I think that? Because I realized that the ugly things that I saw coming out of MAGA, the prejudice, the white nationalism, the Christian nationalism, that was the few.
That was made up by the Southern Poverty Law Center?
No, it wasn't made up. Oh, please, Katie.
Yeah,
you don't want any of that smoke.
Rally was,
I promise you.
led by the Southern Poverty Law Center.
If you think white nationalism is made up by the Southern Poverty Law Center, no wonder you don't have a problem with what J.D. Vance said about Nixon.
The kind you're talking about in MAGA it's made up by the Southern Poverty Law Center. It absolutely was.
So there are no real bigots in MAGA.
And an indictment by DOJ to show it.
So there are no real bigots in MAGA. There are no real white nationalists. They've all been put up to it by the Southern Poverty Law Center. Like January 6th was an inside job by the FBI.
That's what the indictment says.
What indictment says? What indictment says that the FBI did January 6th? I love hearing the conspiracies.
I was talking about the indictment of the Southern Poverty Law Center in Alabama, which details how the Southern Poverty Law Center specifically paid the organizer of the Charlottesville rally to take people to and from to make up this fake hate rally that they then used against the president and the right for years. SPLC has been accusing conservatives and the right of false white supremacy for over a decade and defrauding their donors.
If you don't think there's
by
white
buying
supremacy,
things like
if you think they created white supremacy, if you think the Southern Poverty Law Center created white supremacy,
they did. It's
you go with that, Katie. I'll tell you what, because I've met a lot of people with dead family members in the South who don't think the Southern Poverty Law Center is responsible.
It's about SPLC
First of all,
and the left
an indictment,
manufacturing their political arguments.
An indictment, not to mansplain, but an indictment is a charging document. It's a bunch of allegations, not facts. And they are not even charged with doing anything like organizing it.
Thank you very much.
Well, then don't make it sound like it's a fact, because it's not a fact. If you know what it is, then you know you shouldn't represent it as a matter of fact, right?
Okay, Chris, I don't need you to lecture me about belittling the American people, talking to me about how I don't know what an indictment is. I've been working in this industry for 20 years, and you sitting here and acting like I don't know what I'm talking about is ridiculous. It's absurd.
No,
you're being very disrespectful.
Well, listen, I don't mean it that way, Katie. I want to try to get to what's behind some of these arguments. Like, I think going after the Southern Poverty Law Center,
I don't think you're doing the best way.
I think that's dangerous. I think J.D. Vance saying it's okay to commit a burglary
funding false white supremacy
is dangerous.
And falsely accusing conservatives of white supremacy is dangerous. I think saying that people are hateful, like Charlie Kirk, putting him on a hate watch map is dangerous, and he lost his life as a result of this fomenting of this fake
he was killed for what he believed.
We've seen terrorizing the right forever from places like the Southern Poverty Law Center, which, yes, have been indicted by a grand jury, by the Department of Justice, that lists a set of facts they will use in federal court, in front of a judge, and in front of juries to make their case. That is real.
They're not
facts. If you want to deny it, you can, but it is a fact.
No, No.
What
That's
are
not
they
a
then?
fact.
They're just
An
made
allegation.
up? They're made up? What are they then?
An allegation is an uncorroborated suggestion that must be proven at trial by material and competent evidence that is found compelling to a judge or a jury. Otherwise, it's just a charging document. But an indictment doesn't have facts. An indictment is putting something forward that they'll believe they'll prove, as a matter of fact. Maybe, we'll see. And if they show that the Southern Poverty Law Center set up the Charlottesville thing, they should all go to prison. If they can show beyond a reasonable doubt that people at the Southern Poverty Law Center created hate groups, they should all go to prison, Katie. I'm here for it. And if you get that story, I will have you lead the whole show. I'll be your correspondent on it.
Well, I have my own
you
show
can have
at
my
10
whole
p.m.,
hour.
so I appreciate that.
I know, but I'm saying I'd give you both hours.
At 10 o'clock. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Because I want that. I want us to get to a place where we just call right and wrong everywhere. If the Southern Poverty Law Center did that, wrong. If Biden did it,
great.
Wrong. If the Democrats did it,
maybe you should accept that it's a real indictment and take the facts seriously.
I believe that it's a real indictment. An indictment is not a set of facts. And a lot of times they can't prove it.
Okay, pause the tape. What we are seeing here is the classic partisan playbook hitting a brick wall of basic legal reality. Look at what just happened. Katie Pavlich tried to use an unproven allegation from a charging document to claim as a matter of absolute fact that the SPLC manufactured a fake hate rally in Charlottesville. Cuomo doesn't just disagree with her, he gives her a live legal education. He explicitly points out that an indictment is not a set of facts. It is an uncorroborated charging document. But here is the real issue, and this is where the narrative completely flips. Pavlich is an anchor who has been in this industry for 20 years. She knows what an indictment is. But she relies so heavily on shouting over people and repeating a scripted political narrative that she completely short-circuited when Cuomo refused to let her dominate the conversation. When her logic is exposed as completely fraudulent, what does she do? She plays the victim card. She accuses him of mansplaining and being disrespectful because she has no actual factual defense left. But the trap is fully set, and Cuomo is about to spring the ultimate test of her consistency. Watch what happens when he brings Donald Trump into the equation.
So, look, isn't that your point about Trump? Just because he was indicted, do you believe he was guilty of everything he was accused of in the indictments?
There were some of the facts that were proven to be true and some of them that were not. And a lot of them were developed in a false nature by political actors who we saw for years and years and years tried to keep the president out of politics while they claimed they were for democracy and preserving this right that we have, while they destroyed his reputation with false smears. When it comes to the Southern Poverty Law Center, over 10 decades, we know what happened. There are many examples of people talking in detail about things that were happening to them and the terrorizing the SPLC did to them and put them on maps, like the Focus on the Family was terrorized. There were a number of people who testified as a result of this out of court for years about what the SPLC was doing. So that is real. If you want to go back into what Trump was indicted for, we have litigated that over and over again. That was a political witch hunt.
I'm not relitigating it. I'm not relitigating it. Here's what I'm saying. Trump was indicted. Everything in the indictment was not true. I agree with you. The Southern Poverty Law Center has been indicted.
I think you're making an absurd comparison between the SPLC indictment and the indictment against President Trump. They are not comparable in any ways. Completely different scenarios, completely different political arenas, completely different contexts in terms of years of what had happened before the SPLC indictment. And I look forward to talking more about it and exposing those facts.
Well, listen, I'm here for it because we got to get to a place of right and wrong. I don't play favorites with it. I promise you that. And I only like having you here because I think you're very good at explaining what is happening from that perspective.
Well, that's not what you said in the first half of this segment, so
no,
I appreciate you saying that now. Thank you.
All I said, it's all I ever say whenever I talk about you. I think you're doing a great job, and I think you're a great, it's great to have us here to be able to do this, in my opinion. But all I'm saying is, for you to put forward that what Vance is saying doesn't mean what it obviously means, I think is assuming that the people hearing it are stupid. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you think people are stupid.
I don't know why you're asking me to speak for him.
No, I was just helping you to help me understand it, and you did. You told me why you think he's putting himself out there as different. I get it, and you're always welcome to make the case.
And there it is. The absolute, undeniable, Structural hypocrisy of the modern media echo chamber laid completely bare. Cuomo snaps the trap shut by asking the most obvious question. If an indictment represents absolute truth when it targets an organization you hate, like the SPLC, then do you believe Donald Trump is guilty of everything he was accused of in his indictments? And what is her response? She stammers, she pivots, and she completely folds. Suddenly, when it's Trump, the indictments are a political witch hunt. Suddenly, it's a completely different arena and a completely different context. It is an embarrassing, blatant double standard, and she has absolutely no defense for it. This exchange matters immensely because it exposes how corporate political commentators operate. They don't care about principles, and they certainly don't care about legal definitions. They care about team loyalty. Whatever their side does is completely justified, and whatever the opposition does is an existential threat. Cuomo didn't just win a debate here. He exposed the sheer absurdity of trying to pretend that historic, deeply rooted racial prejudices were somehow synthesized in an Alabama lab by a nonprofit group just to hurt MAGA feelings. Did Chris Cuomo completely dismantle her entire argument? Or do you think Pavlich actually had a point about institutional bias? Drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to help us reach our 1K goal, and turn on notifications so you never miss a breakdown. This is Floor Leader Insider, and we'll see you on the next one.